Welcome to the Shorten Anime channel. Today we'll dive into the latest episode of The Great Ruler. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to support the channel. The Great Ruler Season 1, Episode 15. Deep inside the forest, a violent spiritual energy swept through like a fierce wind. Under this powerful spiritual energy, the entire forest became silent. In the distance, a few spiritual beasts desperately fled as they felt the rage from the silver-horned panther dragon. The fury within the conflagration ape king's eyes subsided slightly under the spiritual energy's pressure. The ugly beast's face revealed a slight hint of fear. Although it had just reached the peak of a middle-ranked spiritual beast, the silver-horned panther dragon in front of it was a genuine high-ranked spiritual beast. Conflagration ape king's enormous body curled up slightly. It stared in fear at the silver-horned panther dragon. The body showed traces of backing off, and it was obvious that it planned on escaping. Roar! But the grieving silver-horned panther dragon would not let this murderer escape that easily. Rage and ruthlessness filled its cold beast eyes. As its sharp claws slowly rubbed the ground, an extremely violent spiritual energy fluctuation emitted out from it constantly. Boom! The conflagration ape king suddenly turned around and ran. The fierceness it showed earlier as it chased Mu Chen had completely vanished. Under the threat of death, it was obvious that it had forgotten about Mu Chen. The silver-horned panther dragon stared coldly at the escaping conflagration ape king, its massive body lowered slightly. In the next instant, spiritual energy flooded out like a waterfall, and dazzling silver light completely wrapped around the silver-horned panther dragon. After a muffled sound, the silver-horned panther dragon turned into a silver streak of light as it darted forward. Swoosh! With a speed that the naked eye cannot perceive, the silver light pierced through the air. A sound of tearing rang out before Mu Chen was able to react. He turned his gaze over to that direction and noticed that the conflagration ape king had already stopped running. A 1-meter-wide hole appeared on its back. The organs within its body had completely vanished as well. The silver-horned panther dragon shook its body lightly in front of the conflagration ape king. It flung away all the bloodstains on its body before it slowly walked back. Bang! The conflagration ape king's body collapsed onto the ground. Fresh blood continued to flow out, but it was obvious that it had died already. One hit, an instant kill. Mu Chen's heart jumped. He thought inside his mind, is this the power of a high-ranked spiritual beast? How terrifying. However, he remained motionless as he laid on the ground. He even minimized his breathing, and the spiritual energy, which was circulating within his body, returned back to his Oricea. If he was discovered by the silver-horned panther dragon, he probably wouldn't be much better off than the conflagration ape king. Luckily, the silver-horned panther dragon was not in a mood to search for a human like him. Instead, it walked beside the one-horned panther dragon and pushed the corpse around. It issued out a lament howl and slowly walked back to the depths of the forest with its corpse. Mu Chen watched as the silver-horned panther dragon disappeared. He did not immediately stand up. Instead, he waited patiently for approximately 10 minutes before he carefully stood up. He stared vigilantly at his surroundings. Then he hurried quickly to the conflagration ape king's corpse and used a dagger to cut its head apart. All of a sudden, a red light floated out. This was the conflagration ape king's soul essence. This fiery red light had a miniature-sized conflagration ape in it. A powerful spiritual energy fluctuation radiated from it. Mu Chen used his backhand to collect the conflagration ape king's soul essence. Then he used the dagger and cut the conflagration ape king's head completely off. After this was done, he suddenly paused and pondered for a moment. Then he walked to the place where the one-horned panther dragon had died. A large puddle of thick red blood was at that spot. Mu Chen took out a bottle and carefully loaded the blood inside. Then he placed it back within his arms and swiftly left this place. While Mu Chen got rid of his dilemma, a trouble also appeared within the valley. Roar! Roar! The silence within the valley was completely shattered at this moment. Groups of giant red apes stared furiously at the humans within the depths of the valley. They picked up giant boulders and threw them fiercely at them. With their numbers, they managed to force everyone in the valley into a helpless position. Damn it! All of these beasts regained their consciousness. Lin Zhong and the others dodged the giant boulders helpless. They stared at the group of conflagration apes as they showed an exceeding ugly expression. After Mu Chen had lured away the conflagration ape king, they picked up the speed. However, they did not imagine that the conflagration apes would wake up in succession. Right now, they were stuck at this location due to them. What should we do? Tang Qianer, Mo Ling, and the others had a pale expression. After all, their psychological qualities weren't as good as Lin Zhong and the others. This scene made their legs feel slightly weak. "Prepare to charge out," Lei Cheng said in a deep voice. He was carrying a bag behind him. Emerald lights continued to penetrate outwards from within the bag, while a fragrance was released into the air. "Lin Zhong, bring some people to take care of them. Don't let anything happen to them," Lei Cheng said. After all, they were veterans and they had bountiful experience in this. However, Tang Qianer and the others were just rookies without any experience. If an accident occurs and they were caught among the group of conflagration apes, they would probably be ripped into shreds instantly. Yes, Lin Zhong and the others nodded. They did not make fun of these students who had not guts. After all, the courage displayed by Mu Chen earlier when he lured away the conflagration ape king by himself was something that they were stunned about. They understood that they would have probably died today if it wasn't for Mu Chen's actions. "Let's go!" Lei Chen gripped onto his long blade and his eyes became serious. A powerful spiritual energy emitted out, and he led the charge towards the conflagration apes. His blade flashed and he forcibly teared open a path. The thunderstorm team followed closely. Tang Qianer and the others were in the center and were protected by them. The group of people pushed their spiritual energy to the extreme, and blade lights formed into a defensive line. It knocked back the conflagration apes that tried to lunge over. Bang, bang, bang. Although there was Lei Cheng, a spiritual rotation stage initial phase powerhouse, who was leading the team, there were just too many conflagration apes. Therefore, some of the members of the thunderstorm team were injured shortly after they charged out. However, they gritted their teeth and endured it as fresh blood constantly flowed down the arms holding the blade. "Damn it!" Lei Cheng split a conflagration ape into half. However, he could only curse as numerous conflagration apes lunged over. He gradually started to panic. It seems that they would be buried within this valley today. Tang Qianer, Mo Ling, and the others stared at the vicious conflagration apes with a pale expression. However, the conflagration apes suddenly created a commotion when they felt despair within their hearts. The conflagration apes seemed to have noticed something terrifying, and they retreated backwards while letting out fearful cries. "What is this all about?" Lei Cheng and the others watched in astonishment at this scene. Not far away, they noticed a thin boy's figure suddenly jumping out. "It's Mu Chen!" Tang Qianer and the others instantly became overjoyed when they noticed this familiar figure. They did not understand why, but the confidence that the latter gave far surpassed Lei Cheng, even when he wasn't as strong as Lei Cheng. What is he holding in his hand? Lin Zhong and the others could see clearly. The thing that Mu Chen was holding on seemed to be the source of fear for the nearby conflagration apes. "It's a head!" Lei Cheng was stunned. His eyes immediately showed an astounded expression and he cried, "It's the head of the conflagration ape king!" "What?" Lin Zhong and the others were startled. Horror began to fill their eyes. Did Mu Chen really kill the conflagration ape king? "Hurry!" Just as they were horrified, Mu Chen shouted at them. At the same time, he raised the head of the conflagration ape king, and the nearby conflagration apes retreated backwards due to fear. In their eyes, the conflagration ape king was an extremely terrifying existence. Then the one who killed the conflagration ape king, just how powerful would he? Without a sharp wisdom, they weren't able to think clearly about this. They could only rely on the fear that they felt from their instincts. "Hurry and run!" Lei Cheng rejoiced, and he quickly gestured with his hand. He led the crowd and accelerated to leave the conflagration apes' siege. Finally, they made it to Mu Chen's side. As they approached, they were able to see clearly the ugly head that was constantly dripping blood. It was indeed the conflagration ape king's head. Lei Cheng and the others exchanged gazes. They could see the shock within their eyes. How in the world did Mu Chen do it? Mu Chen did not care about their thoughts and led them out of the valley quickly. Then he placed the head of the conflagration ape king outside of the valley and scared the conflagration apes, so that they did not dare to come out. The group of people turned around and rushed fiercely away. Only after they were far away from the valley, they fell down exhausted. Even Lei Cheng was panting heavily, and his body was covered with sweat. Mu Chen also sat down below a tree. It feels that his bones were about to shatter. It was quite frightening this time. He nearly died. "Are you all right?" Tang Qianer walked beside Mu Chen. Her beautiful eyes stared at the boy. It was obvious that this person had given her many shocks today. "I'm fine." Muchen smiled and he raised his head. He noticed that Lei Cheng and the others were all dumbfounded as they stared at him. It was evident that they had not recovered from the shock that Mu Chen had saved them, using the head of the conflagration Ape King. "Stop staring. I was just lucky. I still don't have the strength to kill a conflagration Ape King." Mu Chen shook his head helplessly. Then he turned and looked at Lei Cheng as he smiled. "However, big brother Lei Cheng, the task is finished. We should divide the spoils now, right?" "Ha ha ha ha." When Lei Cheng heard these words, he could not help but laugh. He lowered the bag behind him and spread it open. A dazzling emerald light flowed out instantly, along with a thick fragrance, which made everybody's eyes lit up. Mu Chen also stared at the round and juicy jaded essence fruit inside the bag. A satisfied smile appeared on his face. At least he did not lose out after this tiring ordeal. The bag was spread out on the ground and a dazzling emerald light emitted from it. Every single jaded-colored jaded essence fruit was round and shiny. An irresistible aroma made all of them gulp as they stared feverishly at it. "There's a total of 30 jaded essence fruits. Originally, we should have more of an harvest, but the conflagration Ape King wasted many jaded essence fruit." Lei smiled and separated 15 of the jaded essence fruit. He said, "Little brother Mu Chen, although you said that you would only take 30%, it was all thanks to you regarding about the matter today. You deserve these 15 jaded essence fruit. We cannot be greedy after all the work that you've done. We should just do 30% like we agreed upon." "Fine, then thank you, big brother Lei Cheng." Mu Chen shook his head. He was about to refuse, but he noticed the resolute expression that Lei Cheng had. He could only helplessly smile and did not act pretentious as he accepted the 15 jaded essence fruit. Then he looked at Mo Ling and the others, who were staring at him, and said, "You guys worked hard as well. Let's have everybody take one jaded essence fruit, is that okay?" Mo Ling and the others could not help but grin. Even Zhang Li and Teng Yong had emotional faces. As they obtained the jaded essence fruit from Mu Chen, their faces turned red as if they wanted to say something, but they didn't have the nerve to do so. Thus, they could only keep grinning. "Yo, you also have one." Mu Chen handed a jaded essence fruit to Tang Qianer. The girl let off a sweet smile as she held onto the jaded essence fruit. When Mu Chen finished distributing the 15 jaded essence fruit, he still had 6 remaining in his hand. Even he could not endure it and grinned as he stared at the cold, jade-like jaded essence. With this jaded essence fruit, he should be able to condense the second limitless death seal, right? The group of people rested in the forest. Because they came back with fruitful results, every single one of them had a joyous expression. They also got closer with each other. Mo Ling and the others even took the opportunity to ask for guidance from the thunderstorm regarding about methods of hunting spiritual beast. Moreover, Lin Zhong and the others even shared some of the dangerous experiences they had in their adventures. As they were listening, Mo Ling and the others' eyes lit up as if they were extremely excited. Mu Chen watched the harmonious atmosphere and smiled. At this moment, Lei Cheng walked over with a bottle of hard liquor and thrusted it towards Mu Chen. He smiled and said, "How is it? Can you drink?" Mu Chen was not good with the item inside the bottle. However, he did not refuse and took a swig from it. The spicy feeling made the handsome boy's face turn red, and he coughed a few times. "Don't drink that much." Seeing this, Tang Qianer hurriedly patted Mu Chen's back and said reproachfully, "Oh ho ho, I've met many youths over all these years, but I've never met one as amazing as little brother Mu Chen. If you have time in the future, you can come play around with the Thunderstorm team." Lei Cheng joked as he said, "His father is the Mu territory's lord. Uncle Mu will not forgive you if you drag him in becoming an adventurer." Tang Qianer batted an eye towards Lei Cheng and said sourly, "Mu territory's lord?" Lei Cheng was stunned. He immediately stared at Mu Chen in surprise. So little brother Mu Chen is the young master of the Mu territory. It was an oversight. Oh ho ho, I've had once followed my big brother and met the Mu territory's lord before. Truly, a wild goose will never lay a tame egg. Mu Chen glared at Tang Qianer as the girl stuck out her tongue. She only mentioned it because she did not think carefully about it. "Little brother Mu Chen, we will stay at the Northern Spiritual Field for a while. If you need any help, feel free to call us. This time, we owe you a favor," Lei Cheng said. "Big brother Lei, there's no need to be this polite. Naturally, I would have to give it my all since we were cooperating." Mu Chen smiled and said, Cooperation is cooperation. However, it is also true that you've saved us, the Thunderstorm team, Lei Cheng said seriously. Mu Chen could only shake his head helplessly. However, he had a better opinion of this straightforward and burly man. After they chatted for a while, the color of the sky gradually darkened. When Mu Chen noticed this, he said farewells to the Thunderstorm team together with Tang Chen and the others. Afterwards, they rushed towards the direction of the camp. Along the way, Mo Ling and the others were still immersed in excitement. Although they were in a dangerous situation today, the emotional moments after the danger made them extremely excited. They talked constantly about the fierce battle within the valley. Mu Chen did not feel anything about the excitement they were talking about. After all, he had experienced this many times within the spiritual road. Therefore, he was able to maintain a calm heart when facing this kind of situation. As there weren't many obstacles on the way back, they reached a location close to the camp after half an hour. The youths all let out a sigh of relief when they saw the camp out in the distance. Mu Chen stared in the direction of the camp and frowned. This is because a dozen figures were at the entrance of the forest. The leading figure was fairly familiar, as it was Liu Yang and Chen Tong. It was clear that the people behind these smiling individuals were all West Branch students. It's Chen Tong and a few others. Mo Ling was startled when he noticed Liu Yang and the other students. His face immediately turned disgusted. Mu Chen, it seems that they are coming for you. Just when Mu Chen and the others discovered Chen Tong's group, the other group also noticed the group that was returning. A nasty expression appeared instantly in their faces and they intercepted Mu Chen and the others. Chen Tong, what are you guys doing? Mo Ling frowned when he noticed this. Oh, nothing. I only want to talk with him for a while. Mo Ling, this is unrelated to you, so you best not intervene, okay? If you offend Brother Liu, you'll have an unpleasant time as well. Chen Tong laughed. The Brother Liu that Chen Tong was talking about was obviously Liu Mubai. When Mo Ling heard this, his face changed slightly. It was obvious that he was afraid of Liu Mubai. Zhang Li, Teng Yong, the two of you can leave as well. I know that you bear grudges with Mu Chen. We'll help you vent off your feelings. Chen Tong stared as he spoke to Zhang Li and Teng Yong. He calculated it quite accurately. Aside from Tang Qianer, the other people weren't familiar with Mu Chen. Moreover, Zhang Li and Teng Yong both disliked Mu Chen, so they wouldn't help him for sure. However, just when he believed that he had calculated the situation accurately, Zhang Li and the others only stared at him coldly. They did not show any traces of leaving and instead let out a sneer. If you want to hurt Brother Mu, you have to ask us first. Although Zhang Li and Teng Yong disliked Mu Chen earlier, the matter today completely changed their opinions on him. Not only did Mu Chen rescue them, his actions in the valley completely made these prideful individuals respect him. The hatred they had against him had vanished already. Therefore, they did not feel the slightest psychological burden when they called him Brother Mu. You! Chen Tong and the others were stunned. Their faces instantly turned grim as they stared malevolently at Mo Ling and the others, who were protecting Mu Chen. They felt incredulously. Why would these old students be that protective of an East Branch Heaven-class newcomer? Mu Chen watched the scene undisturbed and did not say anything. He only patted Zhang Li and the other's shoulders and said, "Let's leave." He did not say anything towards Chen Tong and Liu Yang. This ignoring attitude made Chen Tong's face become disgusted. He let out a low cry. "You want to leave? You're acting too arrogant." His hand stretched straight out towards Mu Chen's collar as soon as he said those words. Swoosh! However, when he took action towards Mu Chen, a cold chill passed through Mu Chen's eyes. Mu Chen turned his hand around and a black light flashed. Before Chen Tong's hands touched his collar, a bloody dark dagger already appeared next to Chen Tong's throat. The coldness coming from his throat made Chen Tong's pupil contract violently. He shuddered and gritted his teeth as he said, "What do you want? You don't believe that I'll kill you?" Mu Chen said softly as he looked at Chen Tong. Although Mu Chen's words were light, Chen Tong and the others all felt a bone-chilling cold. This was a true killing intent. The youths behind Chen Tong were stunned by the emotionless, black eyes of Mu Chen. They were afraid and did not dare to speak. "What are you doing?" A deep voice broke the silence, and many youths hurriedly looked over. They saw Teacher Mo staring severely at them nearby. "Teacher Mo!" Mo Ling and the others immediately bowed when they noticed him. When Mu Chen saw that Teacher Mo, he withdrew his dagger. A gentle smile reappeared on his handsome face. When you look at him, it seems that he was harmless. "Teacher Mo? Mu Chen wanted to kill me." Chen Tong stared at Mu Chen with a flushed face. You really believe that I didn't see it at all? Teacher Mo glanced at Chen Tong as he said faintly. Chen Tong was startled, and he bitterly touched his nose. Then he glared fiercely at Mu Chen and brought everyone away with a depressed expression. All of you should return back to the camp as well. Teacher Mo said this towards Mo Ling, Tang Qianer, and the others. The latter hesitated for a moment before leaving one after another. After seeing them leave, Teacher Mo walked towards Mu Chen. He could not help but shake his head as he stared at the boy's gentle face. He said, "Oh boy, you really dare do such a dangerous thing with an adventurers team." Teacher Mo, you know what we did? Mu Chen was slightly stunned as he asked. After Tan Qingshan returned and informed me, I rushed over immediately. However, I did not show up, but I've witnessed your actions. Teacher Mo stared at Mu Chen while he was slightly overwhelmed. He originally planned on saving Mu Chen when he noticed Mu Chen luring away the conflagration Ape King. However, who would have expected that the boy would actually lure out a silver-horned panther dragon? This act of rousing the tiger to eat the wolf even made him sigh with amazement. So Teacher Mo was secretly protecting me. If I knew that earlier, I wouldn't need to be hunted down that helplessly, Mu Chen said helplessly. If they knew that a spirit stage powerhouse was protecting him in secret, just who would be willing to run around the forest while being chased? Boy, you, Teacher Mo smiled as he shook his head. He knew that Mu Chen was quite cautious, even though he was still quite young. He must have cooperated with the Thunderstorm team because he was convinced that the other side would not dare do anything wicked to them. Forget it, it's great that you're back. Let's head back to the camp first. Teacher Mo waved his hand and turned around toward the camp. Mu Chen followed him with a smile. The two of them passed through the forest and entered the camp. Mu Chen immediately swept a glance around the camp when he entered. He suddenly stared at the dozen burly figures near the camp. The powerful and ominous aura that came from the figures showed that they were any ordinary individuals. This is... Teacher Mo also frowned as he stared at the unfamiliar team. Then he noticed the badge on these men's chests and muttered, "It's the people from the Lu territory? What are they planning to do by coming here?" That wraps up the content for today's episode. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel to get notifications for the next episode. For now, goodbye, and see you next time.